What up, guys? So in this video, I just want to go over how to set up your macros. If you don't know what macros are, don't know if you've been living under a rock or what, but pretty much everybody knows what macronutrients are at this point in time. Protein, carb, fat, and that is what makes up the calories in your diet, basically. So we'll go over how to set that up and how to get everything rolling. So the first thing that we need to do is basically establish your maintenance calories. So maintenance calories, that is simply the amount of calories that you need to eat to stay the same weight that you are right now. And so the simple equation that I use is body weight times 14. Now that's gonna work for most people, right? If you have like an active job or a physically demanding job, you may be able to do body weight times 15 or even 16 if it's really active. But if it's just you going to the gym 5 or 6 days a week, you're sedentary. The majority of the time that you spend awake is not active. If you have a normal job like most people and you're not like lifting heavy stuff or walking miles and miles every day, despite the fact that you're going to the gym, kicking ass, doing your thing, you are sedentary. So most people are gonna fall into body weight times 14. There are plenty of other online calculators that you can use, but this is just a simple method that I use and it works. So we have an example. So we'll do a 200-pound male, and so it would just be 200 times 14, and that'll give us 2,800 calories needed to maintain 200 pounds. So that's our base right there. You know, maybe if you're doing this, you can plug your numbers in along just so it makes a little bit more sense to you. Now we've got our maintenance calories. You need to figure out, well, what are we doing here? Are we trying to gain weight? Are we trying to bulk? We're trying to cut, or just maintain our weight? So if you are trying to bulk or eat in a caloric surplus, you want to add anywhere from 200 to 500 calories on top of that maintenance number that we just established, okay? If you're looking to cut or to lose fat, subtract 200 to 500 calories from that maintenance calorie amount that we just set up. Maintenance, if you're looking to eat at maintenance, you do nothing. You just eat the 2,800 calories that we just set up, right? So in the example, we'll continue on with the 200-pound male. So he needs 2,800 calories to maintain, which is body weight times 14, right? And he decides to cut. So 2,800 minus 300, because that falls within the 200 to 500 calorie reduction, gives us 2,500 calories to lose or cut fat. Simple. So that's the amount of calories that this guy, this 200-pound male, needs to eat to lose fat. 2,500, okay? If you wanted to be, I'll go a step further, if you wanted to be really, really spot on with your calories, you would basically just eat your maintenance calories for a week before making any adjustments to your plan. You eat your maintenance calories for like a week or maybe 10 days, and if your weight doesn't change, then you know you're eating your maintenance calories. If your weight goes up, you know the maintenance calories that we established with that equation were maybe a little bit too high. If your weight goes down, the opposite, maybe those maintenance calories that we established are a little bit too low, and you might just want to tweak them, right? So now we've got our maintenance calories. Then we went ahead and we established the calories for our goal, which is to cut. So we're down to 2,500 calories. Now we can start setting up the macronutrients, protein, carbs, fat, right? So I like to just start with protein. It's very, very simple. Protein is basically gonna be your body weight in grams, okay? So it can be, say, 1 to 2 grams per pound, but I just, as a start point, I like to do 1 gram per pound. Now, I do like more of a calorie or carb cycling approach, and on my low days, there'll be more protein, maybe closer to 2 grams or 1.5. But it's just easy to start your program just to say, hey, I'm gonna eat 1 gram of protein per pound of weight. So again, in this example, we have a 200-pound male. So 200 times 1, that's 200 grams of protein daily. Done and over with. So just something to note, there are 4 calories per gram of protein, right? So that 200 grams of protein this guy is gonna be eating per day is going to come out to 800 calories. So it's 200 grams of protein times 4, because it's 4 calories per gram, 800 calories. Just keep that in mind as we move forward, because we're gonna need that when we kind of set up our fat intake. So we've got our calories, we've got our protein. Now we go ahead and move to our carbohydrates. So carbs can be anywhere from 1 to 3 grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight, okay? And that's a kind of big range. And generally what I like to do, if the individual has more body fat on them, I will generally start the carbs a little bit lower, just because it kind of makes sense, right? Like if you are starting this deal with the high body fat, probably your insulin sensitivity and your sensitivity to food in general and your nutrient partitioning is not the greatest, because your body fat is already high. So starting with a little bit of a lower carb load might be a better idea. We'll use the example again, 200-pound male. We're gonna go with 1.5 grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight, which yields 300 grams of carbohydrates daily. So carbohydrates are also 4 calories per gram. So 300 grams of carbohydrates times 4, 1,200 calories. So now we've got 800 calories from protein, 1,200 calories from carbohydrates. So that is a total of 2,000 calories. We have 500 calories left to work with. And that's where setting the fat comes in. So the remaining calories will come from fat. There are 9 calories per gram of fat. So we just gotta do a little math. And I'll just kind of walk you through the slide. So a 200-pound male wants to cut. We established his maintenance calories at 2,800 calories, right? We deduct 300 because he wants to cut. We got to eat in a deficit. So we need to eat less than maintenance calories. That brings us to 2,500 calories. So of that 2,500 calories, 800 calories is coming from protein. So we get that out of the way. 1,200 calories is coming from carbs. So we deduct that. That leaves us with 500 calories to work with for fat. So now all we got to do is divide 500 by 9, and that gives us 55 grams of fat. Piece of cake. Summary: 200-pound male wants to cut, eat in a deficit, 200 grams of protein, 300 grams of carbs, 55 grams of fat. Piece of cake. Setting protein between 1 and 1.5 grams and carbs between 1 to 2 will work for most people. When you get into the upper ranges of the macronutrients, protein, and carbs, you're gonna be working with people that are kind of maybe hard gainers, or have a fast metabolism, or just some sort of, maybe they're enhanced or have an enhanced metabolism, and that's when they might demand a higher carbohydrate load, or if they have a really, really high workload. There's a lot of things that can come into play, a lot of variables, a lot of nuances in establishing carbohydrates and protein and fat, right? Some people just feel better on higher fat intake. Some people feel like shit with a low fat intake. Some people perform better with, well, I would probably say most people perform in the gym better with a high carbohydrate intake. So finding that right ratio just takes some trial and error. But what I've laid out here is a good framework and a good start point to go off of. So that's it. That's how you set up your macros. And then you would, you'd set that up and you'd run that for say a week or 2 weeks. And then you can just continue to adjust your calories and your macros as things start to stagnate and the changes start to come a little bit more slowly. You can just pull a little bit more carbohydrates, pull a little bit more calories. That'll get you rolling. So I hope this video was helpful. Go ahead, like the video if you liked it, share it with somebody if you think that it might be helpful to them, and I'll see you on the next video, guys. Thanks.